Hi, guys. So today I'm so excited because I have been working on a project, which is my book, and it's more of a journal that every home needs. And it's called Before I Go. If you can see that. Oh, it's not going to let me show you. It's called Before I Go, A Helpful Hand to a Peaceful Departure. So when my dad passed away, um, we weren't prepared. And going into his home, even though we were close, I didn't know where any of his important papers or information or anything was. We just grabbed a garbage bag and any papers that looked important, we just put them in the garbage bag to take home to go through because I didn't know what type of insurance he had or um, anything like that. So it's kind of devastating when, first of all, when you lose someone, and then second, when you don't know the first step to go about burying them, what they would want, what you have to have, um, thinking about how much money you have, how much things cost, and you want it to be nice for the person that you love. So there's so many things and emotions going through your mind at the time that I thought I would create this journal that has everything that you need that you can leave for your family, for your loved ones, to let them know what you would want, what you would like. Um, so some of the topics are like your personal information, your birthday, your social security number, your driver's license information, your attorneys, who you have. Maybe your family doesn't know that you went already pre-planned some things with an attorney. So it's that information. Who your next of kin. Maybe you don't live. Maybe your family lives away. Your kids may live away. So this can be for so people can know who to contact. What bills you have, the things you have going out, your mortgage, your rent, things that would need to be disconnected. There's a chapter for that. There's a chapter for your benefits that may need to be shut down. Maybe you're receiving Social Security or some type of pension, and maybe they may need a telephone call letting them know that this needs to be stopped. And I know that this is a subject that's difficult to have sometimes with your kids or with your family, but it needs to be done. And this way, you can take your time and write down all your wishes. What kind of funeral you may want. Some people like to be buried, others cremated, and your family may or may not know what you want. Um, you may say you have children, young children. Who would you like to take care of them if something were to happen to you? You could write it down. What schools you might want them to go to. Maybe some favorite recipes you might want to leave for your loved one. And like I said, I understand that it's difficult talking about these kind of things, but it's a subject that it's something we need to talk about. Um, some people don't have life insurance. Maybe they just can't afford it, or maybe they just don't want to deal with it now. They're like, oh, I'll take care of that later. But you never know. Later, maybe now. You might need to handle those things now. Who your doctors are. Does your family know? This way you can jot it down in the book, which my camera's not letting me show you too much today. But there's pages for every subject. Um, If you had military service, what schools did you go to? Um, what would you like in your obituary? What type of funeral service would you like? Someone may want something elaborate, and other people may want something very small. But have you had the conversation with your family? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But with my journal, you can write it down so that they will know your final wishes. Um, you would be taking some of the burden off of them by letting them know what you choose, what you want to have. Um, and then the location of your documents. They may not know. You might have an office or you may not, but the location of your will, your insurance policies, is there, you can have that written down in this journal. And it's small. Um, I made it small so that you can throw it in your purse. You can throw it in your bag, your backpack. It can go with you anywhere while you're taking the time to fill out the information for the people you love the most. You love the most. Maybe you haven't had the conversation with them. Or possibly you could be sick right now. And this will give you the opportunity to write down your feelings and your wants and needs. How about your pets? If something were to happen to you today, what would you want to happen with your pets? Who would you want them to go with? Is there anything specific that that person would need to know about your pet? Your passwords. Anyone with a phone or a computer, nowadays we have thousands of passwords, and all the time you have to change it. So I also recommend with the journal, say every 6 months, just go through it and maybe update, because sometimes your personal things change. Sometimes the people in your life change. So I leave space and opportunity for you to be able to change some of those things. Uh, and like I said, I believe that this should be in every household, not just when you're sick, not just when you're older, but even young families who have children, because things happen. We don't want them to. We want to be here. But just in case, you can write down all your wishes. Um, I have a chapter on organ donation. Some people, someone may want to donate. Your bank accounts, your life insurance, your medical information. There may be things that you haven't told your family that needs to be known. Um, let's see what else. I leave a spot for letters. If you want to write a letter to someone, your newspaper announcement. There's a spot for if you want to put maybe a favorite photo that you have of you and the places you've been, the people you've been around. Sorry, I'm sweating. I'm so hot. Um, but with this journal, you can take the time to write down your wishes, what you would want. Because at that time when something happens or when someone passes away, you you just can't think. And sometimes family members will want to go above and beyond what they can afford or what you would have wanted. So by writing it down, you can help guide them a little bit during that time when they're an emotional wreck. They can take the journal and go through it and see what you would want. Another chapter I have is like life insurance, of course, and that's very important to have. If you don't have any, you should see about getting some life insurance, because burial is not cheap, and the state really doesn't give that much. Even if you're a veteran, they don't give very much. Um, so you want to write those things down. Uh, And again, your next of kin, say you may be single, or you may live alone, you may live in a town by yourself. So it's important if someone were to come into your house, they could take this and know, oh, I can call this person and the relationship that you have with them, or their address, or that they could find them. Um, in the beginning, I have a spot where you can put who the journal belongs to. And you just need to let your family know that you have this just in case. Nowadays, it seems like people are passing left and right, but they're not prepared. You see more GoFundMe's. Um, and it's difficult. It's difficult for, well, of course, the person that's deceased, but it's difficult for the loved ones. And maybe you're single and you don't have friends and family, but you want your affairs to be in order. So with this, you could jot down everything that you want so that it'll be done respectfully. You, and like I said, or you may be sick. You could write things down that you want to be known. Um, and this, it just means a lot to me to have this because, like I said, when I lost my dad, that was devastating to me. And besides the fact of losing him, then to have to make arrangements. And it's like, I don't know where anything is. I don't know if he has insurance policies or with what company. With this journal, you can write down the company, their website, you can write down their phone numbers. And like I said, if you do have an attorney, a lot of people now are going to their attorneys or to the funeral homes and doing pre-arrangements. It's cheaper to do that, and I think it's loving for the family. Um, you can put that down in your book. Um, let me see what else I'm forgetting. Some of your favorite memories, you could put that down. Uh, for your funeral, maybe you have a favorite flower or something that you want to wear. Instead of your family going out and buying something new, there may be something that you choose that you have in your closet now that you might want to wear. And like I said, I understand that the subject is difficult and we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to bring anything up, but it needs to be talked about, especially if you're at that age where you have different illnesses or you are getting up there. It's like, um, you just want to be prepared. You want your family to be prepared. And this is a guide that they will appreciate. It's something loving, a last gesture that you can give to them to know what you would want when you depart. So the journal is on Amazon right now. So please get a copy. Um, and if you do purchase a copy, I'd appreciate if you would leave a review. But again, it's called Before I Go, A Helpful Hand for a Peaceful Departure. And it's a journal so that you can journal, you can put down your final wishes. If you want to be cremated instead of buried, or inter- interment, I think it's called, when you're in the wall, you may prefer that. If you want flowers, um, if you're making household payments, gas, electric, water, whatever you're paying, you can jot it down so your loved one would know, well, I need to turn this off for mom, or I need to get this turned off. Um, your bank accounts, your credit cards. You may have 15 credit cards in your purse, and no one would know that you have all those accounts, but you can write it down in here. And um, then they can be turned off, they can be closed, the accounts can be closed, your benefits can be closed. Things that you just don't talk about every day. And you might even be fearful of speaking of these things. or you might think it might be too much for your children or your loved ones or your mate, your boyfriend or girlfriend to deal with. By having it written down, it's your wishes. You might not want a big funeral. You can put that down. And hopefully, your family or whoever's taking care of your arrangements will follow your guide, your lead. Leave them one last wish. Uh, Give them the benefit of having what you would have wanted. They can do what you want. And like I said, you may not have a will, but if you do, you can write down in here the location of it or the lawyer that took care of it for you. So, like I said, I'm really passionate about this because as I get older, I think about my own um death or illness, and so many people around me are passing away, and sometimes we're just not prepared. I want you to be prepared a little bit. Whether you have insurance or not, you can write down your final wishes for your family and let them know the location of it. And like I said, even if you're alone, you don't have family, you can have this so that anyone that's taking care of your needs can go step by step in what you wrote down, your information. I'm gonna let me show you. You can jot it down so that they'll know. So I think it's a loving gesture. Take the time, go to Amazon and order a copy for you. Like I said, I believe every household should have one just because you don't know. We pray to live forever, but we also know that that doesn't always happen. That doesn't happen. So it's called Before I Go. It's on Amazon. Get it for your household and leave me a review. And I hope each and every one of you go out and get it and take the time. We don't like to think about it. We don't like to think about our own death and passing, but it's a good thing to have. And if you are a couple, you can write down the information for both of you in the book. And just leave that one last loving gesture for your family. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll think about it tomorrow. Do it today because tomorrow isn't promised. All right, guys. Thank you. And I hope you go out and buy Before I Go. It's on Amazon. Bye.